Hello everyone, my name is Huayu Fu. This is my final project for History 204 class. The past is part of today. And for each week, I choose a topic I think is most important. For week 2, it's the Olympic Games. Week 3 is the Crusades. Week 4 is the Renaissance. And week 5 is the Columbian Exchange. And week 6 is Universal Law of Gravitation by Newton. And for the Olympic Games, the ancient Olympic Games were religious and athletic festival held every 4 years at the Sanctuary of Theseus in Olympia, Greece. Originated in 776 BC, the first modern Olympic Games was hosted in the Panathenaic Stadium in Athens in 1896. And the picture on the left is the typical competition we have in the ancient Olympic Games, and picture on the right is the fourth modern Olympic Games. The connection between the past and today is they both hold every 4 years, and the ancient Olympic Games is for Greek unity, and the modern Olympic Games is for world unity, which is very similar. And for the ancient Olympic Games, they require police to call truce to any wars, and the modern Olympic Games is aimed for world peace. And they both have the foot racing, and they are both widely accepted. And the examples we will see today is today there are 204 countries participate in the Olympic Games. And in the ancient Olympic Games, there is more than 150 cities. And regardless of race and religions, everyone can join the Olympic Games today. The level of importance, compared with other important ceremony ideas at that time, I think the Olympic Game is worldwide accepted, and it has a good meaning compared with the trial by jury. This is only accepted by the Western countries, not the whole world. The second is the Crusades. The original impulse from the Crusade was the threat that Muslim armies posed to Christian people, pilgrims, and holy places in Eastern Mediterranean. And Pope Urban's appeal for Crusade in 1095 came in response to a request for military assistance from the Byzantine Emperor Alexius Comnenus. Fights between the Western world and Middle Eastern still exist today. The picture in the left is the Crusades. The picture in the right is the warfare in the Middle Eastern. The connection to today, like the conflict between the Christian and Muslims still exists today. They are never end, and the most important immediate consequence of the Crusade was not the tenuous western possession of the Holy Land, but the expansion of trade and economic contracts that expeditions facilitated. That's still true in today's world, and the spread, like also the spread of Christianity today still happens, but may not be in the terms of war, but in the term of others. And also the mix of culture, like for the Crusade, they have the mix of the Christianity people and the people from Muslim world. Islamic world. And the examples we can see today is like when Columbus sailed west in 1492, he imagined he was engaged in a kind of crusade to spread Christianity. Even as later as the 20th century, some Latin American countries continued to collect attacks to finance crusades. Also, the Iraq War, like the purpose is for the massive destruction weapons, but after the war ends, the United States Army still not finds that kind of weapon exists. But it may be for some other reason, like the conflict between the Islam and the Christian, or for some kind of profit, like maybe the oil, and also the tourists, like some 911, like the ISIS, they still have making troubles for the Western countries, and the conflict still exists. The level of importance today is like a 1,000 years long. The conflict between the Christianity and Islam, and the spread of Christianity is never end. Like during, like for example, there is the not Korean War, and today the most people in the South Korea is believes Christianity, and the third idea is the republicanism, and the republicanism describes a state in which government officials were elected by the people or portion of the people. The theory of republicanism was first articulated in Middle Age by Padura in the Defense of the Peace, a book that relies on the precedents established by the ancient Rome Republic. The connection to today is like today, most countries in the world today are republics, or at least they have the country's name contain the word republic, like People's Republic of China and some other countries. The examples we can see today is like the most of countries in the world are republicans, and almost all countries have elections, and the government are elected by the people, and the people govern the people, not others. And the level of importance, I believe this is really important concept in that period of time in history. It established the modern social structure, and it can be adapted in different kind of cultural backgrounds in different part of the world. And the Columbian Exchange, as I believe, is another very important ideas during that time period. The exchange is the trade of people, plants, animal, microbes, and ideas between the old and new worlds. And the trade started as the 14th centuries when the Columbus discovered the new world. And here is a map of the exchange menu, like different products between the new world and the old world, and how they are spread. The connection to today is like today we have very large international trading. Each company will trade with other companies, and the, today there's still biological exchange, and there's also problem of cultural diversity, like different cultures get together and they have conflicts, especially in the United States. It has people from everywhere and different races, different cultural background, and also today we still have the exchange of plant and animal. Also, we have kind of exchange of diseases. Like if we have one disease, it can be quickly spreaded by the uh, trading around the world or the transportation around the world, like by the airplane or the ship. Like for example, the meat and vegetable we consume daily. In the past, we may not have that kind of meat or vegetable at the area we are living. It's come from other continent or the other side of the world, but now we can enjoy it thanks to the Colombian exchange. Also, the spread of virus is worldwide, like the SARS, like the most recent virus, the Embra, is discovered at Africa, but lately it spread to the United States. Also, the mix of culture around the world, like the United States, especially, it has people from the Europe, people from the Middle East, from the Asia, and from other parts of country, and people in the United States really have very diverse culture, and everyone will have their small groups. The level it's important today, I believe the Columbus Exchange were really important compared with uh, other ideas at that time period. Like it helped, like after the Columbian discovery of the New World, the world is connected, and after the food exchange, like the plants, animals exchange between the continent, uh, the standard of living of people is improved. Like we can enjoy variety of products, and some plants like potatoes is really good for people to. It's really good for us to increase the food production, like to reduce the starving problems, and also by spreads culture or uh, knowledge, the world gets civilized. Uh, in the ancient, uh, the the America continent is not very civilized, but after the explore, after the trade and people come to the uh, America, and uh, now the United States is the world most powerful country. Also, the universal law of gravitation, I believe, is one of the most important uh, theory in the techno revolution. It's a law of nature established by Isaac Newton in 1687, holding that any two bodies attract each other with a force that is directly proportional to the product of their masses and indirectly proportional to the square of the distance between them. The law was written in the Mexico term, like there's a two ball and there's mathematical formulas describe the force between the balls, and they is the theory is still useful, and everyone will learn it in school today, and it gives a mathematical explanation of the planet's orbits. Also, it's the basic theory for building the rocket to escape the gravity of Earth and get into the space. Also, it assists the discoverer of the Newtonian. It's like by doing the mathematical calculation, the astronauts discover an error, but this error leads to the discoverer of the Newtonian. Examples we see today is like the escape velocity, like what kind of velocity we need to escape the gravity of the Earth to get for the satellite to get into the space, and escape, and the velocity we need to escape the solar system to get into the galaxy, and it also helps us the understanding of the solar system, how the planets orbits around the sun. The level of importance today, I believe this is extremely important compared with the development of art at the same time period. And that time period is it's development of the technology, the science, and it's really helped today's world, and that's it. In in conclusion, after doing this project, I really noticed that the past is really the part of today. Like we cannot live without the past, and today's world is really built up from the ancient world with us successful ancestors, with us the previous theories, ideas, or event. Uh, we can not have the world like today, and I really learned a lot during this class, and the content is the class is called world history, but I really think about it is history of the Western world. Like it's not really mentioned about uh, history of the Asia, and also it's quite different from what I did learn from high school in China. Like our concentration is like the history of the world around China, and some part of the history is uh, is about the Western country, and we did not teach a lot around the religions. But after this class, I thought uh, the Western cultures is built up with the religions, and everything is related to the religion.